your forecast first. Sponsored by Matex Heating, Cooling, and Plumbing.
Well, good evening to you. Thanks for joining us here tonight as we glance at our weather here. We're actually a few showers showing up across far southern Illinois here tonight. Light rainfall. The rest of us will stay dry, at least here through tonight. But the rain chances are going up considerably over the next few days. Pretty cool out there as well. Cold rain. 49 in Effingham. It is 48 in Springfield and in Champaign. Now, our temperatures tomorrow should be pretty similar to what we had today. We're going to make a run closer to about 60 degrees for a high. But, wow, today we had sunshine. Tomorrow, not so much. Thunderstorms are in the forecast as well. Got to talk about severe weather. Stick around. We'll do that coming up. WCIA 3 News starts right now.
Now, from WCIA 3 News.
We kind of feel like we're hanging out to dry.
Some businesses are looking at dark futures as the governor's executive order continues what one owner is doing to try and save his. Plus, gyms are supposed to remain closed in Illinois, but one is deciding to open anyway. And summer is still a month away, but it's already started for one favorite spot.
You're watching your local news leader. This is WCIA 3 News at 10.
Good evening, I'm Paul Cicchini. A gym in St. Joseph says it will be reopening tomorrow, but not if the Champaign-Urbana Public Health District has anything to say about it. WCIA 3's Jen Lask is live in St. Joe tonight. So, Jen, the gym just got a cease and desist order.
Yeah, Paul, that cease and desist letter is up on the door. It was signed by CU PhD Administrator Julie Pride. Now, the zone has opened multiple locations already in Illinois, two others, Greenville and Shelbyville, earlier last week, and now they're hoping that this one will open in St. Joseph as well. St. Joseph staff posted videos on Facebook earlier today saying that the gym would be opening up at 8 a.m. tomorrow morning. They plan to resume its 24/7 schedule for members, and while Julie Pride with CU PhD says the gym is not allowed to reopen, the zone's attorney, Tom DeVore, says they sent a letter to Champaign County health officials about their plan earlier in the week, and no one stopped them. Now, I asked Pride about that letter, and she says it shows they know what they're doing violates the governor's executive order. Now, both DeVore and State's Attorney Julia Reitz are waiting to see what happens in the morning.
If the business chooses to open, then we will need to move forward with legal action, and we're prepared to do that.
They're going to open, and if any local government official walks in that building trying to shut them down after they have been asked to do so under the law, we will be in a courtroom getting an emergency restraining order against anybody that attempts to do that.
So, what does legal action look like? Reitz says it could be a court order to close or possibly charges for reckless conduct. She says she hopes that they don't have to take that action. Live in St. Joseph, Jen Lask, WCIA 3, your local news leader.
So, Jen, you mentioned that potentially charges could be filed. Does that mean that Julia Reitz could potentially send law enforcement to the gym tomorrow?
She wouldn't answer that when I asked. However, what she did say is that they are treating this as a public health of business issue and that they are hoping that everyone cooperates and complies with the order. Back to you, Paul.
All right, Jen, thanks. I guess only time will tell. In other news, a restaurant owner considered saving his business by fully reopening against the governor's executive order, but he decided to take a different approach. Now he's making sure local lawmakers hear his plea to give businesses a break during this time. WCIA 3's Jennifer Jensen has this story.
Decades of commitment and hard work have been poured into running the Apple Dumpling restaurant.
If I don't get customers in here and get opened, it's a scary thing after 35 years to see something fail.
By banning in-house service, the state executive order has put some businesses in the red, facing a grim future. Curbside service isn't cutting it for this countryside restaurant, slashing their revenue down to a third of what it used to be.
It's going on too long, you know, and everybody is feeling like they are in a prison. And like I said, you've got all the other states that are opening up, except for 8 states that are doing whatever they please and, you know, making businesses fail.
Co-owner Jim Flanagan thought about fully opening his restaurant, defying the executive order as it stands now, just to keep his business running.
We kind of feel like we're hanging out to dry, so if we don't get answers, we just have to take it upon ourselves. We can't lose everything because we can't get answers.
But instead of risking violation, he took initiative by contacting his local state lawmakers to try to make them understand the struggle.
If I don't believe the law is being applied equally, I can go down the street to a business locally down here that has Walmart, has 150 to 300 people in the store at all time, but yet I can have zero inside my establishment. Doesn't make sense.
His fear is that their business might not be able to recover if this executive order is prolonged.
I'm going to have zero answers except for a plan that came from the governor, which puts us in steps, and even the highest step, it only has our capacity at 50%. We can't survive at 50%. There is absolutely no way.
Reporting, I'm Jennifer Jensen, WCIA 3, your local news leader.
Now, again, for any business in Champaign County considering reopening against the governor's order, State's Attorney Julia Reed says criminal charges could be pressed if there is an element of recklessness or willful disregard for the safety of anyone during this pandemic. As the governor's plan to reopen in phases comes under fire, he threatened to withhold federal funding from local authorities who refuse to enforce his orders. Our Capitol Bureau Chief Mark Maxwell has the latest on the political fight starting to build in Springfield.
In his second press teleconference working from home, Governor Pritzker preached patience to anxious workers and business owners itching to reopen.
And I expect that we will move into phase 3 for most of the state on May 29.
But for 7 downstate Democrats, that is 2 weeks too late. In a letter to the governor, the Metro East lawmakers wrote, "Our region has met the criteria to move to phase 3 and should be able to do so this Friday." Senate Republican leader Bill Brady said his members agree.
The 28-day phase-in is too slow in our mind. The 14-day phase-in is much more appropriate.
Brady feels Illinois lags too far behind the federal guidelines on how fast to reopen.
Under the Fauci plan, there's guidance on the metrics that should allow you to move into the next phase. And I think that if we can prove that any area is deserving of moving into the next phase, we should accelerate their ability to do so.
In teleconference testimony before the U.S. Senate, Dr. Anthony Fauci cautioned senators against the rush to reopen too quickly, warning it could lead to unnecessary preventable death.
There is a real risk that you will trigger an outbreak that you may not be able to control, which in fact, paradoxically, will set you back, not only leading to some suffering and death that could be avoided, but could even set you back on the road to trying to get economic recovery.
Pritzker defended his plan, pointing out it allows Illinois to progress even if the number of coronavirus cases and deaths don't go down.
If we had followed the guidelines that were set in the White House plan and that have been adopted in some other states and required a downward movement of all those numbers, we might not be reopening some parts of the state, any parts of the state really, until perhaps the middle of June or later.
The one thing sure to delay Illinois' efforts to reopen is a surge of new cases or hospitalizations. That's why Governor Pritzker urged local authorities to enforce his rules even if local businesses challenge it. And if they don't, the governor threatened those local cities or counties may risk losing federal funding. Reporting in Springfield, Mark Maxwell.
Governor Pritzker said today state lawmakers must return, but he declined to call a special session and force them back. The State House has been silent since early March when Speaker Madigan canceled session due to fears of the coronavirus. The deadline for them to pass a budget is May 31st. A drug used to hasten recovery of COVID-19 patients has reached Illinois. It's called remdesivir, and it's an antiviral drug. That means it stops viruses from replicating. Experts say it can help patients leave the hospital an average of 4 days sooner. There's a limited supply, so it is going to harder hit areas first, such as Cook County. But manufacturers are increasing production to make it more widely available. More tests are being done across the state, which means more people are testing positive. There were around 4,000 new cases of COVID-19 reported in Illinois today. There have now been about 83,000 total cases of coronavirus. 144 more people were killed by the contagion. That brings the state's death toll to about 3,600. In other news, 2 people were found dead in a garage in Decatur have been identified. They were found on East Main Street near South 16th Street. The coroner says 23-year-old Reagan Brown was found in a car. 24-year-old Brandon Tucker was found partially on the floor just outside of the driver's side door. Police say they didn't show any signs of trauma. The car was out of gas and the garage was closed. They are still investigating. No in-class school means no field trips. Why that isn't a problem for some teachers. Plus, most people are stuck at home, but some are getting creative with it. You'll meet this singing professor in our Bright Spot later. And it's a look at the future for one school, how soon it could be a reality.